Remember, very few people manage to be saved, and in the event that those who are saved are able to transcend to the afterlife, they will only be able to take themselves with them. They will not be able to take with them possessions or anything they have acquired under the lifestyle based on having. If, on the other hand, they dedicated themselves to being, they will have cultivated a more evolved self. But to achieve this growth, it was first necessary to know themselves. This knowledge had to be achieved in the real world, not in the imagination, since we live in a tangible environment, nature. It is not governed by bureaucracies, nor does it care about political correctness or fantasies. What should I do to know myself? First, it is essential to be honest and sincere. We must not lie to ourselves, love deception, or live in fantasies. That is, we must avoid falling into mythomania at all costs. Thus, we understand that self-knowledge is a fundamental requirement to achieve salvation. But a crucial question arises. What am I? Because, at the end of the day, what we seek is to transcend. Galileo Galilei said that the greatest wisdom is to know oneself. To be saved, one must transcend, and we can only know ourselves honestly, without masks. But then, what am I? Am I something? How is it possible to be something and not know what one is? If I were really me, if I were completely what I am, then I would know myself. But since I don't know what I am, does that mean I am not? Now, honestly, without fantasies or mythologies, without giving in to our inclination to mythomania, let us try to answer this question. What am I? Mr. Y reflection. To explore this question, we asked a person, Mr. Y, who he was. At first, he took his time to answer, aware of the great ontological mysteries. He admitted that he was unaware of the complexity of his body, the systems that make up his soma and brain. He compared his body to the operation of a complex computer, which we use as users without fully understanding its construction or operation. Finally, he responded insightfully, I know that I am not my hand. If it is amputated, I am still me. Then we asked him again, What are you? I know that I am not my legs, he replied, insinuating the direction of his argument. Sensing his message, we asked him, Are you telling me that you are not your body? Precisely. I do not know what I am, but I assure you that I, who is speaking to you, am not this body. However, before he could conclude his reflection, an unexpected accident occurred. Mr. Y lay motionless on the ground. We approached his body in the hope that he would continue speaking, but he remained silent. The answer of reality. The reflection remained unfinished, but reality answered for him. Mr. Y was his body, because without it, he could not continue speaking. That was obvious. Let's not kid ourselves. We are fundamentally this body. When we sleep, we are silent. When we are awake, we speak. We cease to exist when the brain stops working. It was then that I understood, without a doubt, that we are body. The motionless Mr. Y's silence proclaimed that, without a body, he no longer existed. And how is this body made up? Internally, our body is a system of billions of molecules that form cells, and these, in turn, form tissues, which constitute organs and, finally, a body. The gigantic molecules that form us are constantly working. Molecular machines is a good description to refer to the complicated chemical processes that make our body work. From the formation of proteins in ribosomes, from the information encoded in DNA with the mediation of RNA, to the generation of energy in mitochondria from ATP. Enzymes, millions of mechanisms, also regulate metabolic pathways. Thanks to their interactions, we can move and breathe. All these processes are extremely complex and require the intervention of multiple molecules in the correct sequence. Everything must fit together like the gears of a mechanism. Saying that we are made up of biological machinery is very appropriate. And that is what really happens. If our entire body is made up of programmed molecular machines, then we are extremely complex and functional biomechanisms. We are made up of billions of nanomachines. In nature, the human body is a biological machine. Our body works thanks to complex systems that operate in a similar way to machines. The nervous system acts as a control and communication system, similar to an electrical circuit. The heart pumps blood like a hydraulic pump. Muscles and bones form a system of levers and movement. Digestion converts food into usable energy, similar to an engine that transforms fuel into movement. Furthermore, our cells, tissues and organs are composed of molecules that interact following chemical and physical principles, regulated by a genetic code that functions as a biological program. At all times, while we breathe, digest food, even when we think or dream, nanomachines that infest our body take care of all those regulatory tasks. The main nanomachines are enzymes, which regulate all metabolic processes. The human body as a result of a program. The human body is the result of a highly complex program contained in our DNA. DNA acts as a kind of compressed file that contains all the information necessary to build and operate an organism. The entire embryogenic formation program is compressed into the nucleus, occupying an incredibly small space. This program, when expanded, depends on millions of tiny molecular machines, such as enzymes. During embryonic development, this compressed file unfolds to direct the development of the organism. Specific instructions for each tissue, organ, and bodily function are activated or deactivated at precise moments, like software running step by step. What is this body we use? To understand it, we must go back to its origin. The body begins to form at fertilization, when the sperm, male gamete, joins the egg, female gamete, forming the zygote. This first cell, with its complete genetic makeup, begins a process of division. From one cell it becomes 2, then 4, 8, and so on, forming the morula, a spherical structure of cells. Later, the morula develops an internal cavity called the blastocele, becoming the blastula. During this stage, gastrulation occurs, when the 3 embryonic layers that will give rise to the tissues and organs of the human being are formed. This happens around the 5th week of pregnancy. In metaphorical terms of embryonic development, it can be said, we are the tree that blooms when the seed of our genetic code is unzipped. Among these layers, the ectoderm, which is the outermost, is crucial. The nervous system, skin, hair, nails, and, most importantly, the brain develop from it. We know that the self manifests itself in the brain because, when it stops working, we cease to exist. Tools of the ectoderm. The ectoderm gives rise to external structures essential for survival, such as claws, fangs, and horns in animals. For example, the bull uses its horns to defend itself. The tiger, with its sharp fangs, is a lethal predator. Eagles capture prey with their powerful talons, some as large as those of a grizzly bear. In contrast, humans have no fangs or claws. What tool did the ectoderm provide us with to survive in such a hostile world? The brain. Thanks to the brain, our species developed tools, weapons, and strategies that are more effective than the fangs and claws of other animals. It allowed us not only to survive, but to thrive. A new question. Here a final question arises. Am I a tool of the body? Am I only good for the survival of the species? Am I a tool for the successful reproduction of the species? Every living being strives to reproduce itself in order to make improved copies and, in this way, continue existing by adapting to the real world. We are no different from other animals in this respect. But how much does the fulfilled of my species affect the fulfilled of myself? Do I dedicate my entire life to achieving the objective of the species, which is to reproduce and swarm in the world? Where is my own transcendence? When we get to know ourselves better, we notice that the fulfilled of the self may not be so simple. It involves understanding what the program of the body is that it follows throughout its life and in which we are immersed. Knowing our place in the body as an epiphenomenon or tool for the species to achieve its reproductive objective. And, finally, knowing how to get out of that prison of the species genius. Because, for the species, what is important is collective survival, never the individual. The individual is disposable. Once it reproduces and keeps its offspring afloat, it can disappear. For the species genius, the individual does not matter. But it does matter to us. We have realized that we die and we want to continue existing. The problem remains the same. I have to become me. Knowing myself. And by knowing myself, I discover that I am a reproductive tool and a tool for fighting for survival, better than fangs and claws. Knowing this, I am a little closer to knowing myself. Because I don't know what I am, but I know what I am not. And I know, without a doubt, that I am not just a tool of this species, of this body. So, my body, I will continue to take care of you, but your goals are no longer mine. Because I am only saved if I am me, and not something foreign to myself.